Ruby Franke. Ironically, she'd been a high-flying Mormon momfluencer, attracting 2.5 million followers on her YouTube channel, 8 Passengers. Ruby's personal brand built around tough love.
I was really hoping that keeping them home from school and wiping the floorboards would really bring pain.
The house the boy says he escaped from, Jody Hildebrandt's. Hours south of Ruby's house.
I'm Jody Hildebrandt. And I'm Ruby Franke.
Jody was a marriage counselor who also treated sex addiction through her work with the counseling network LifeStar. She joined forces with Ruby Franke on a life coaching business called Connections.
All of us want connection. We want to have relationships where we feel close and where there's love.
After that 911 call, Ruby's 12-year-old son and her 10-year-old daughter were taken to the hospital.
The police find laptops, tablets, cell phones. They find ropes. They find duct tape. They find handcuffs.
Jody and Ruby were arrested and charged with 6 counts of felony child abuse. While the arrest sent shockwaves, some who knew Jody Hildebrandt have been raising concerns for years.
We knew that Jody does this. We knew 14, almost 15 years ago that she's already done this to me.
Jesse Hildebrandt, who uses they-them pronouns, has spent years finding a voice after suffering what they call brutal abuse at the hands of their Aunt Jody.
She would lock me in this room and write out my sins on a paper. She would come back in and read these sins back to me and have me kneel on the floor on my hands and knees and beg for forgiveness.
The 30-year-old has built a life far away from a strict Mormon upbringing.
I grew up in a very traditional Mormon household. Dad is the provider, and my mom was a stay-at-home mom. My younger childhood was very happy.
But during adolescence, Jesse started to rebel. The conflicts came to a head. Jesse's parents decided it was best for Jesse to go live with Aunt Jody, and without warning, they left their teenager at a family gathering.
Woke up to a knock on the door. It was Jody and my grandma and grandpa, and to tell me that my life, as I knew it, was about to change.
At first, Jesse says they decided to give the new arrangement a chance. After all, Jesse's aunt was a licensed counselor.
Jody Hildebrandt has been one of the top recommended therapists by the Mormon Church in Utah for at least 15 to 20 years.
But at home, Jesse says their aunt was an altogether different person.
She made me sleep outside in the snow. She duct taped me. I wasn't allowed to speak to anyone.
What, in theory, was the justification for the duct tape?
The duct tape was, in her words, an external reminder to me that I'm a liar and that every word that comes out of my mouth is a lie.
In March of 2010, Jesse made it to the police station in American Fork and filed a report against Aunt Jody. Jesse's statements in that report echoing the story they told us: duct tape over her mouth, sleeping outside, not allowing her to talk. Police sent Jesse to a teen safe home, but after one day, Jesse ended up back with Aunt Jody.
So after I went to the police, the punishments got more and more severe.
After nearly a year of living with Aunt Jody, their aunt brought Jesse to work.
And I have to, it is now or it is never. And I grabbed that jacket and I literally just started running.
Jesse never went back. With dark accusations against Jody coming to light,
Principles, if you will.
scrutiny is also falling on her partner on Connections, Ruby Franke.
They are distorted.
People who watched 8 Passengers were the ones to first kind of ring the alarm as to this alleged abuse that we're seeing now.
People have been pointing out how problematic this family is for a while.
When does the way a parent parents go from cringeworthy to child abuse?
My bedroom was taken away for 7 months, and then you give it back like a couple weeks ago.
I don't think our viewers know that.
You've been sleeping on a beanbag.
I've been sleeping on a beanbag since October.
After the controversy, viewers were questioning Ruby's parenting style and her husband Kevin's, who often joined her on the 8 Passenger channel. The two have now been separated for more than a year.
Many of the viewers of 8 Passengers over the past 2 or 3 years became more and more disturbed and started turning Ruby and Kevin into Child Protective Services in Utah.
In 2020, a Change.org petition requesting that CPS check on the children received hundreds of signatures. Impact has obtained records showing police responded to the Franke home more than a dozen times over the past few years, including several reports of juvenile problems in 2018 and 2019, and multiple welfare checks in 2022.
And to the point where they felt like it was a necessity to go talk to the family, at least to the children, to find out if there was any merit to any of the allegations.
But police who investigated the case were unable to speak to the children and filed a request for a warrant to enter the home.
Even though it was submitted to the judge, the warrant was not signed and it wasn't granted. And so there wasn't much they could do at that point.
CPS is now being investigated for their handling of the case by Utah's Child Welfare Legislative Oversight Panel. Through his attorney, Ruby's husband, Kevin, says those early complaints were nothing serious.
Kevin felt like that they were just being harassed by people online, calling the authorities and having to come to their home. It was just a difference in parenting style, but nothing abusive up to that point.
After the shocking arrest, there's a growing chorus of people laying the blame squarely on Jodi Hildebrandt.
It's 100% Jodi. And I understand why the public is focusing on Ruby. It's Ruby's children. But all of these theories and these modalities and these parenting ideas, that all comes from Jodi.
Kevin feels like Jodi manipulated the entire family, children included.